3, 2, 1, go.
What's up guys, welcome to another draw along. So we are just going to sculpt a character. So grab your Apple Pencil and follow along. So let's get rid of this sphere. I always do it first. So we're going to come to this little icon and then we're just going to delete this sphere. So this is your scene menu and we're going to add a cylinder first. Of course you have to validate each primitive. So each shape is a primitive. So if you hit add, you have all these primitives. So anytime you add one, you just have to validate. And of course this is super beginner, so I'm not going to get into all the technical stuff. Just hit validate and you're good to go. So now let's come over here. Here's our tools. So let's tap on this. Let's tap on this little gizmo. Gizmo is just how you move everything around. Of course, you have these little spheres that stretches. You have this orange, that size. You have all these rings to turn it, things like that. And then you have the arrows to move it. And of course, double tap to undo. So let's make sure that we have our project set up the best that we can. So we're going to press this little camera and we're going to hit orthographic. Perspective is cool for perspective, but it can be kind of confusing when you're sculpting. So you put it on orthographic and it gets rid of that perspective. And again, this is the grid. I don't know how to get rid of the grid. Sometimes it's gone, sometimes it's here. You can put a little shortcut down here. So if you tap here and you have the grid shortcut. So if you have that, then it shows up there and then you can get rid of the grid. We'll get rid of it in a second. So let's take this cylinder and let's make it like a small little platform. So first I'm just going to make it bigger with this orange ring. And then I'm going to shrink it with this green sphere. I'm just going to shrink it like this. I'm going to put it right underneath this red line. So something like that. Okay, that's going to be our little platform. Let's make it rounded. So actually, I should have done that in the beginning. I could have done it when it was like this. I would have just gone here and put this up to 2. Actually, yeah, just undo and do that. Why not? So just tap undo and go back to this screen, tap these 3 little dots and just put this subdivision up to 2. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll just shrink it down. You can go ahead and validate it now. So now we'll use our gizmo. We'll make it a little bit bigger. Let's hit front on this little cube. Let's shrink it down like so. We'll bring it right up to that red line. Okay, so now it's a little bit rounder. But if it doesn't really matter if you want to do that or not. You don't really have to. But okay, so now we have our little platform. Let's get rid of this ugly grid. So now we don't need a grid. Also, let's go into here and change it from lit PBR to matte cap. That'll make it easier to see as well, because when you're at lit PBR, you're getting like environment lights and stuff like that. Matte cap is like fake lighting, so you can just see it a lot better. It looks like there's lighting, but it's fake. All right, so let's make a little character. Keep it very simple. So again, we go to the scene menu. This is how we add shapes. This is the cylinder. That's the only 3D shape, 3D mesh, whatever you want to call it. This is the only 3D object we have. So let's tap these 3 dots, hit name, and let's name it FLR, or you can name it floor, but I like to cut corners sometimes. So we're going to add let's add a sphere. I do love my spheres, not going to lie. So let's use the gizmo. Sometimes the gizmo is a little confusing. It's in a lot of places, but as long as you have this, you'll be able to move it around. So let's use this green one to just move it up a little bit. And I think that'll be like I think that'll be the body. Let's stretch it a little bit. Move it up a little bit more. So I think that's going to be the body. So we can validate it, and we might as well go ahead and name it body. Otherwise, you'll just start adding things and you'll be like, it'll be very difficult to figure out, to stay organized. So 3 dots, name, Bodhi. All right, so let's do some, let's make a head now. So which shape do we want? Do we want another sphere? Yeah, let's do another sphere. So as you can see, like the gizmo, excuse me, it looks like the gizmo is selected, but there's no gizmo. So you just have to hit here. So we'll move it up with the green arrow. Let's make it bigger. Okay, maybe we'll flatten it. Let's validate it. Let's use some tools. So let's use move and symmetry. Let's tap the symmetry option there. So symmetry is just like it sounds. Remember to use this cube. Let's get to the front. So just move the cube to the front. Symmetry, so tap here. Let's go down to the bottom and hit show line. Then you can see your symmetry line. And symmetry can be very confusing, but when you see your symmetry line and you have symmetry turned on, anything you do to one side is going to happen. It's going to be symmetrical on the other side. So that's the bare bones of it. So let's make some sort of head out of this. So I'm going to make the move tool a little bit bigger, and let's just move some of this clay around. Yeah, let's move it around like this. I like that. It's an interesting shaped head. I think it works. Let's take this shape. See, symmetry's not on, so if I was to move it, it would be all weird. Let's turn symmetry on, and maybe we'll just kind of squeeze it a little bit at the top. Let's turn it to the side. Maybe we'll make like maybe we'll just give it like just a little bit of a shape. Maybe we can have a little belly sticking out, something like that. Nothing too crazy. I think that works. So what kind of legs do we want to give him? Let's use the tube tool. Let's get crazy. So the tube tool is really, really useful. We're going to use path, and that's it. And then we're going to make these. So we're going to put the Apple Pencil, or put your stylus down on the tablet, drag, so you get this. So once you let it up, they're just going to be two white nodes, but then you can move down to another position, and then you can place it down, and it does that. So now when you lift it, you have this. Of course, you can move these around, but we'll put them straight for now. The little green dot makes our leg, and you can see it's not, when we turn it, it's not exactly where we want it. So we'll just move it back. And still it's not where we want it. So sometimes you have to do this song and dance where you move it around a million times until you get it to where you want it. There might be a better way. Sometimes there's lots of times there's better ways to do things than the way I do them. I just hope to learn those better ways myself. So there's a lot of options up here. Let's hit radius. So radius, if you only have, this is the default. So you have this one little orange node that makes it bigger and smaller. If you hit radius, you have two. So now the bottom can be bigger and this is smaller, or vice versa. And if you hit 3, then you can do any node. And you can add more if you want. You can do all sorts of weird things. But I think we only need 3 for the leg. So I think 2 is good. Maybe let's move this node up and kind of just make it sort of leggy. I don't really know how I want the legs to look, but we'll see. Maybe we'll move. Kind of like that. We can use the gizmo. Oh, I wish we could. We'll do that. We'll do that in a second, I think. I want to stretch it. So now the gizmo is a little wacky. So let's see if we can hit pivot, center, pivot. It's still a little wacky because the gizmo was kind of aligning up with the tube, which is a little wacky. So let's hit align. if you hit a line, then it just aligns it with your project. So we're on the left, this blue is pointing to the left, you know, so everything is like perfect. It makes the gizmo perfect. So the reason why I wanted to do that is now I'm turning it back to the left. Here's the head. It needs to be wider. You know, the leg needs to be wider. So we'll use this blue sphere and we'll just widen the leg a little bit. Maybe we'll move it back. Maybe we'll like bend it a little bit. But if we still want to adjust the tube, you can hit the tube as well, and then you can make your adjustments to your tube. We'll make it a little bit. We'll make its legs a little bit thicker. Thick boy. Okay, so let's really easily get one on the other side by hitting mirror. So now it's mirrored. So now our tube is in a mirror. If you tap here, you see our tube is in a mirror. But I think that's pretty good. It's pretty leggy. I think I like it. Let's give him some shoes. Or first, let's go ahead. Let's be confident. If you're confident with your legs, if you like them, then you can validate them. So hit validate, and there we have our legs. Let's give him some little shoes. So we'll tap there. You see our little mirror here. And let's go ahead and add, and notice that we're inside the mirror. So when we add a sphere, it's already inside the mirror. So we don't need to hit mirror again because it's already inside the mirror. So when you hit gizmo and you move it left and right, you see it's mirrored, and that's because it's inside a mirror. I do repeat a lot of things on purpose, if I'm honest. I feel like it helps, or hopefully it helps. So let's stretch it out. Sorry, sometimes I'm like doing things and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, no one knows like what I'm doing. I'm just moving, I moved the sphere down, and I'm gonna make the sphere the shoes. Now you can use the gizmo to just kind of like, you know, kind of shape it a little bit, and you know, if you want it a little bit lower to the ground, you can do that. You can move it back some till it's more shoey. Let's move it over. You can kind of open it up with this green ring. You can kind of open the feet up. I think I like that. I think, however, I don't know if I want these smaller. You know what? Maybe I'll keep them long. But what I do want to do is, okay, so let's validate. So now these shapes are validated. You see they're in the mirror. We can name it feeties. You can name it feet if you want. So they're in the mirror. So let's take move. Let's turn the radius of the move tool down a little bit. I don't think we need symmetry, because symmetry will be moving these together, and we don't need to do that. We just want the same thing to happen on both shoes. So I think I want to just make it a little bit bigger. I'm making it bigger so it's a little bit more of a smooth movement, so everything still looks nice and clean. I just wanted to make it nice and round. Even if I squeeze the bottom together a little bit, and maybe we'll bring it up a little bit on the end, and maybe down a little bit there, so it's kind of like those old school like clown shoes that all cartoons had. You can do something like that. I think that's kind of fun. Okay, so I think I like that. So let's hit left. And now you notice that this is like a sphere. It's almost like a peanut, and it goes below this. So we're going to trim that. So let's take the trim tool, rectangle, and we're just going to draw a rectangle. You'll see it's white, and everything in the white is going to get trimmed. So I'm going to bring it all the way up to here, right below. I don't want to bring it right up to the edge and trim it. I want to do right below. There we go. So now it's trimmed. Now our character is trimmed. So let's do some arms. And So we have body, we have the mirror, these are the legs and the feet. Let's go and validate these. So let's hit validate. So what happens if you do the feet, the tube, you just have to hit the mirror last, and then you can validate and join children. So now let's just name these legs. And this is the head. And we should save. You should save very often. So now let's add a sphere and let's just make some quick arms. So I'm going to bring the sphere up, move it over. And it's okay that we're just doing one side at a time. So let's go ahead and mirror it, and then let's validate that sphere. So now I'm going to take move, no symmetry. Remember, we're now in a mirror. We can go ahead and let's name the mirror arms. Okay. So let's tap on the sphere. We're using move. And now let's just stretch it out. So we'll just kind of stretch it out. Let's push on the top. Kind of just make like an arm type shape. I'm making like a nice round arm type shape. I like my cartoon arms nice and plump. And now I just use the gizmo to kind of pull them into the body a little bit. And you can use the move tool and you can kind of just move them however you want. You can make them kind of bigger if you want. You can use the gizmo and like rotate them as well. I think something like that is good. I think I want them going forward a little bit. Oop. Got to tap each individual arm when you want to move it. And I think I'm going to make this smaller. I just want this going a little bit more into his little body. Okay, I like that. Okay, that looks good. I don't know what kind of face I want to do. That's okay, we'll deal with faces later. So let's make some little fingers. So let's use the inflate tool. Actually, first, let's make sure we're on the arm. Let's use flatten first. Flatten, flatten, flatten. Now let's make the palms. So we're just gonna flatten a kind of circular part at the end. And that's gonna be like the palm. So that's gonna dictate, you know, where the fingers go and things like that. So we'll do something like that. Let's take smooth, a little bit bigger maybe, and just kind of smooth it out a little bit. Now when we make fingers, if I use inflate, let's see how it looks. Yeah, so inflate looks okay, but we're gonna add more geometry to it because it's a little soft. So let's go here and subdivide. Oop, subdivide. Make sure, did I subdivide twice? No, I didn't. Okay. So now we have the inflate tool. So let's make a thumb first. So right about here, we'll make the thumb. So I'm going to draw, inflate this, remove the apple, move it from the surface, and then go inflate again. And then we have like a little thumb. Now let's make, we can give him 3 fingers. So I'm going to make one here, like that. And you notice that I don't want them to be on the same plane. I want them to be like his fingers are sort of like, you know, like this one is down a little bit further. I don't really have that much room for another finger, do I? So maybe we'll do it down. Maybe we'll make the pinky here. Yeah. The thumb's a little bit far away, but that's okay. Yeah, the thumb is quite far. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe we'll flatten it and smooth it. Hopefully we can kind of smooth that away. That's smooth nicely. Now let's use inflate again, and we'll do the thumb this time. I think that's a better spot for the thumb. We'll even add a little bit for the, that little round bit that's on our hands next to our thumb. So now that we have that, let's just softly smooth out our little fingers. And let's go ahead and, I want to solidify this first, even before I smooth it. So I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to voxel remesh. This is just a shortcut, so we're going to voxel remesh this arm. So we're going to go here, voxel, and then we're going to put it down to like maybe 165 or so, and remesh. Okay, so now our arm is remeshed. So now we should be able to smooth it, and they shouldn't shrink as much as they would before. So I think that's pretty good. Smooth out his little hand. So now he's got two little hands, and he's chilling. His arms are quite big, actually. Okay, what else do we want to do? So now we have to do some sort of face. We don't have to do a whole face though. Let's use layer. So we'll use the layer tool. So the layer tool is, let's hit sub and symmetry. So now we can make like eye sockets. So if you don't have sub, it'll do this kind of thing. But if you do have sub, then it's gonna, it'll make something like that. So once you lift off the screen, then you can make another layer if you want it to be deeper, and you can kind of keep going like that. So something like that. I think that's kind of cool. And I don't know how much detail I want. I think I just want almost like this is like a weird creature with like a mask on or something. So let's do some ears, I think, on his head. So let's use a sphere. We'll tap gizmo, bring it up, over, and go ahead and mirror it. So we'll just move it back, I think, sort of like there, like nice little afro puffs. So we'll validate, and then we can use move. We don't need symmetry. And we can just kind of make it into sort of like an ear shape. We'll just kind of stretch it out a little bit. We'll kind of bring it down into the head. I think that works. Maybe we'll push on the front a little bit. And maybe you can pull the back out a bit. Even the head, you can go back to the head and just kind of pull it out a bit. That way it gives the ears a little more, they make a little more sense. I kind of like that. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like it. Okay, so now let's take the head. Let me save really quick. So let's voxel merge these shapes together. So let's take the head, the legs, the body. These are the ears. Let's validate this first. So we'll validate those ear type things. We'll validate the arms. Showing children, that's fine. So now we'll take all of this and let's voxel. Let's save first. I always save before I voxel remesh, especially on a tutorial because I'll have to record everything again. So we go here, voxel, and we'll remesh around 200. Okay, so now we can just take our smooth and we can smooth this out. so it looks much, much cleaner. Symmetry is on, because that'll just help us, smooth out everything a lot faster, because we've kept everything symmetrical. So we can just get them nice and smooth. Oh, I should have did a little butt on them. I completely forgot. Let's use clay and let's give them a little butt. I completely forgot. So we'll give them a little backside and then we can just smooth it out. Sorry about that, little guy. Kind of has like a little high butt. You can also use move and stuff like that, and you can sort of, you know, adjust things if you want. I feel like he would definitely be falling backwards. I should have moved his head up a little bit. And if you actually want to, you can use the split tool and like lasso. And lasso, just like, you know, you just can draw, and whatever's white is going to get split. So you can like do something like that. And you can take the head and you can move it up or wherever you want it. Like, honestly, that's probably a better position for the head. And then you can just like kind of move it up. Like so, like that's probably better. And then I'll just go back to your scene, take both of these, voxel, and then just do the same thing. And you just have to like, you know, smooth it out again. Gotta be careful though. See, I accidentally was hitting the thumb. So let's make this a little smaller. Oh. I did one too many undos. I undid the smooth all this. This is such a weird character. Okay, so let's give him like a mouth, a big mouth. So let's use trim with lasso. So I want to start, and I just want to do a big mouth here. Maybe not that big, but I'm just going to use the lasso, and I want to go up like this, and then come down, maybe like that. So now he has that huge mouth. I like it. Let's give him some huge I guess it'd be eyebrows, big brows. I don't know what you call it. They're not really eyebrows, but just like the area where eyebrows would be. I guess this has turned into a dark character. He feels very dark. Okay, so I'm going to voxel remesh this first, since we've done all this stuff. So I'm going to go up here, voxel, we'll remesh it again, and then I'm going to go in and just smooth everything, including the nice mouth. And let's take flatten and try to flatten these edges. I never like the way the edges come out. When you trim and things are really thin, they start to look really bad. But I also like to flatten things like this. So it's a little tricky. You want to try to stay right on the edge and get that edge flat. And it just will look a lot cleaner. A lot more clean. Also, make sure you smooth things out really nicely. That keeps your sculpt looking nice and clean. feel like I want to give him, let's give him a really simple backpack. So let's do add and box. So we'll tap gizmo and we'll bring it up and back. Let's make it thinner like this. I like it already. So now let's use this little, red ring to kind of tilt it, and then we'll just kind of move it so it's like just on his back, like so. So let's validate, and also make sure you check out my Nomad Sculpt cheat sheet. It'll have round edge. With round edge, you can just go like this. But if you don't have that yet, highly advise you checking out that video. But for now, you can use smooth and go into symmetry and planes. Just make sure that they're all on. You can make the smooth tool a little bit bigger, hit symmetry, and then you can softly kind of smooth out the whole thing. Very softly. You don't want to lose too much of the shape. But I think that's good. So now we'll make his little like shoulder straps. Actually, you know what else we should do? No, that's okay. So let's make his little shoulder straps. So we'll use tube, path, and now we'll just draw kind of like a little tube here. We'll hit the green. And unfortunately, we have to kind of move it to where we want it. You can just kind of move these nodes. You can drag them into each other if you want to get rid of some. Let's hit spline, make it nice and curvy, and then just bring that curve out. And let's put this right into the back of the thing. Right there. Let's bring this up a bit. Bring this down a bit. Let's add another little node here. So let's make this flat. Let's add another node here. So let's make this flat. We'll use this little profile thing. So you tap that and notice that all of a sudden it went square, which is good. So you can make it a little bit thinner by bringing these down, like so. And also, if it's not twisted the right way, let's actually move this. If we want to twist it, tap that, and then the pink, you can twist it so it's the correct way. And you can continue to move these as you need. Okay, it's good. So I'm going to mirror it. And now I'm going to use gizmo, and mine feel like they're a little bit too far out. So I'm just going to slide this in like so. Maybe even tilt it a little bit. Just make sure everything looks good. It does. Validate. Now he's got a little backpack. Uh-oh. But this is a little too far in, so I'm just going to take move. As long as we're on the straps, you can just take move and kind of just move them out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That's good. We can give him eyes if we want. So let's go here. Oh, these are the straps. Let's validate those. Let's call these straps. Box is the backpack. And let's make the backpack 2 sections with the split tool and rectangle. So we're just going to make a rectangle like, It really should be straight. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get it straight. Okay, that feels straight enough. It's not perfectly straight, but I'm okay with that. Okay, it looks good. So now let's just validate each of these, maybe around 115 or so. Again, I'm just using a shortcut. It's the same thing as going here and remeshing. Then you can take your smooth. I think we still have all of these. You can just kind of smooth it out. Just be careful because your clay is going to be a bit soft. Okay. Let's go in our symmetry and just turn these off. You only need the X. Okay, so now let's just add some teeth. So we'll go to Scene, Add, Sphere, Gizmo. We'll bring it up, forward, shrink it. Let's bring it forward and then choose this blue to kind of shrink it. It's going to be our teefies. So now we'll just mirror and then we'll just make these two here. And we can validate those. So now let's hit clone. And then when we use the arrow, it's just going to clone them. And then you can just use your gizmo to kind of get them in the right spot. And you can even move them around if you want to make them a little bit like different. And then I'll take these again and just go to Gizmo and clone. And it can be a little tedious, but it's also kind of fun, I think, moving teeth into place. I actually really enjoyed making teeth. And don't worry, we'll get rid of them on the top, coming through the eye thing. So I really like that. I think this looks good. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to clone again and then move them down so we can give them some bottom teeth. So I'll adjust it a little bit like this. Maybe make them a little smaller, a little more nuggety. Maybe bend them forward a bit. And then same thing, just clone and then move them away. And use your gizmo to just slowly make more and more little rows of teeth. I don't even know where this tooth went. There you are. But this is actually really good for you to get used to the gizmo, and it's going to be annoying at first. Gizmo is definitely going to be annoying at first. It even annoys me sometimes. So now we have all of these, which are all teeth. So we'll just take all of those, join them. So these are all the teeth. So we'll just rename it teeth. Okay, so now let's take trim, lasso, and we can kind of lasso all these. So I'll just put it like this. Make sure the teeth are selected. Make sure you have lasso. And we're not in a mirror anymore, so let's hit symmetry. So now we just want to lasso those teeth. I thought they would lasso from both sides, but I guess not. So we can turn symmetry off. Okay, so now the teeth are good to go. So do we want to give them eyes? If you want to give them eyes, just add a sphere, gizmo, and you can bring it up to the middle. And you can hit mirror, and you can separate, and then you can give them eyes. Give them eyes if you wish, if you so choose. I would probably do something like this, validate it, and then use move, and I'd probably like stretch it out. But I just want to make sure it's not showing it through the bottom, which I think it is. But if so, I'll just hit trim again with lasso and just kind of lasso it off. Good. I think that lassoed both sides. Just gotta double check. Looks like it's good. I'm gonna take flatten, and this is just something that I like to do. So now I'm on the head, and I'm just gonna flatten. Make it a little bit bigger. I want to flatten this whole area. I think I just like it better flat. Use smooth. I didn't really try to make him, he looks a little bit like Stitch, even though I didn't even have that in my head. I kind of want to do a split on the ear. I don't know why. This is just random. But I kind of want to do it. So now I'll take this and voxel remesh it at like 160 and use round edge, smooth it out a bit. And I'm going to voxel remesh this a little bit higher. So let's save. And now I'm going to voxel remesh this around 350. I don't think I'm going to add too much more. If I do, it's just like details. It's looking good. I think he might need like he needs a plus. He needs a plus. So let's add a cylinder. Let's use our gizmo. This is way longer than it was supposed to be. So we'll shrink our cylinder. Let's hit snap and snap it forward. And now let's hit that's validate it. So we want to tap the X to make it go away and then tap the Y. Symmetry, group, vertex, the green arrow. And it did not work. Why didn't it work? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I have the wrong thing. Blue? The blue. There we go. Now I see the line. So now, now we can stretch like so. We'll hit symmetry and we'll hit auto. And let's, so we're in a gizmo. Let's clone this. Pivot, center, pivot. Oh, we have to clone it again, so we'll clone again. And then we'll use this blue ring to turn it like so. And these are actually a little bit too, I'm going to stretch them a little bit. Cylinder, cylinder, voxel remesh. There we go. We use rounded edge. If you still don't have it, you can go watch that video real quick. I actually have a few videos with rounded edge. So let's use gizmo, shrinky dink. So we have blue. What else do we need? Let's use red, blue and red. So we'll use move, we'll turn symmetry on. We'll make the move tool a bit bigger, and now we can just bend it. We can just push on it and bend it a little bit. gizmo. Let's plop this right on his little belly. Maybe a little smaller. There we go. Do we want to give him boots too? I mean, we could. We could just use split and rectangle and just give him like high boots. The only problem is we just have to, let's save to Voxel remesh all this stuff again. I'll do this one at like 330. I'll do this at like 200. Boots don't need to be that crazy. I'll do just maybe one rounded edge for the boots. Again, you can just kind of smooth them if you don't have rounded edge. But I like it. I want to put a little pendant on the back too. I'm so sorry. So let's add a cylinder. We use our gizmo and we're just going to move it up and back in the general area. We still have snap, which we don't really need. We'll just bend it this way, make it smaller. Let's take it off of a line. This way it's aligned with itself. That way we can shrink it and it doesn't get all crazy. So now let's just move it, shrink it a little bit more. We'll move it up, shrink it a little bit more. Maybe we'll put it right here as though that's like a little lock type thing. Validate, round edge or smooth, and boom. Oh no. I must have cut the tooth somehow. I don't know when I did that. I hate when that happens. Let's use drag. See if we can drag this tooth up. Oh, and it wasn't symmetrical. Let's hit symmetry and drag this tooth up. Still's not symmetrical. That's okay. Okay, teeth are fixed. All right, so I'm not going to color this whole thing, but we'll go here, Metcap Lit PBR. I am going to change the color. What are the, oh, these are the eyes. Let's validate them. Name, these will be eyes. What is the cylinder? Oh, that's the backpack lock. So we'll take everything, including the floor even. Let's just change the color. You can make it white with like some roughness if you want, but I like this nice terracotta color. Stick with that one. See the roughness? I just don't want it, I don't like it when it's too glossy. I like this though. I like my terracotta color. So let's hit the camera, add view, the little pencil, and 1. So now we have our view. So now it's colored. In a sense, you can color it whatever colors you want. Let's turn off the environment. Again, this is my custom environment. It's on my website, drugvideo.com. Just turn that off. So now we're still in the light menu. We'll hit add light. We'll raise the intensity. Maybe like 180 or so. Let's go ahead and go here and turn on post-process. Turn it up a little bit. So usually the default settings here are going to be okay for now. But once if you set them and you like them, you can save them by hitting this and clone, and then you can name it and it'll just save it. So this already looks really cool, but let's go 3 dots, softness. I like soft shadows. Also in the lights, make sure that your light icons are showing. See, this is the light. It doesn't matter where we position it, but I'm going to position it sort of so it looks like where the light is shining is where this light is. So we'll go here and let's clone. So we'll hit this. Let's name the top one key, or cry, that's fine. And we'll name this one fill. And we'll just take this blue and move it over here. It doesn't matter where we put it. But again, I like to put them where they're going to be. So I'll put it over there, and then I'll turn it down a bit. I don't want it to be that bright. Something like that is perfect. Maybe we'll even make it like warm or cool. So you can do that. Make sure to save. So now let's do like a rim light. So let's go to our lights and let's clone this light. Let's put this back to more of a whitish color. We'll rename it rim for rim light. And let's make it a spotlight. Now you see it. It actually looks kind of cool when it's like in his face. But we're going to move it back behind him. Then we'll turn it a little bit, and then we'll turn it with the green. So you just want to point in like, kind of like behind him, but like off to the side. You can use this green node to make the beam a little bit wider. So let's go to our camera and hit 1. That brings us back to our view. So now you can see where, where this light is, and you can move it and see the effect that it has. Let's turn up the intensity. Yes. I think that looks great. So now, last but not least, let's clone this one, and let's name this TD. Sometimes I put it on the top pointing down, but I think I might make another edge light over here. So I'm just going to long press on the screen so I can get all that stuff out of the way. So now I'm going to drag the new one over here, and then I'm going to use the green, the green ring to turn it so it's like on our character as well. But I want to change the color of this one. So maybe this one will be like, maybe a reddish color. That's a bit like creepy, and I love it. Yeah, I think I like that. Let's make these shiny. So we touch the eyes, and let's make them shiny. Let's make the teeth shiny. Kind of like that. It's nice to have like the little bit of a different texture. Maybe we'll make the eyes a little bit darker too. Maybe we'll make this that same texture, and the straps that same texture. Ooh, and maybe the boots too. And if we need to do the bottom or the top, maybe we'll do the top. And we could do this as well. All right, cool. So I'm going to save. So your assignment is to color this something different than what I have. You can color it whatever you want, change whatever you want, but make sure you tag me, because I can't wait to see what you guys make. I almost scrapped this character, but I'm glad I didn't, because I actually really like it now. And sometimes that happens. Also, feel free, you can go around to some of the shapes, like maybe this. You can go here and you can go to misc, and then you can decimate. So if you decimate, like I'll decimate this twice. Let me go in and make sure, it loses a little bit of the edge. Another thing that round edge is good at, sometimes it cleans up these edges. A little bit. Doesn't really seem to be helping too much here, but so like I might go through and just decimate this. Doesn't look like it's really hurting it, so I might leave it decimated. Same thing with like the teeth, maybe. I'll go here and decimate twice. The straps aren't too big. I'm just looking at these sizes. The body split is really heavy, so I might decimate that. Maybe even again. Boots, really heavy. So misc, decimate those. This little plus, go here, decimate that a little bit. So this is why like all this stuff adds up. So it's always good to go and decimate some of this stuff. It doesn't need to be that huge. Body split, okay. Eyes, oh, eyes are 129K. Why are they that big? Decimate. So now we have a much smaller looking character, or smaller size character. I just want to, let's turn on the environment. So let's go back here, turn the environment on. It's way too bright, so I'll just turn it down here. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Environment's also responsible for like things like this. See this? If we do the rotation, you get that nice glare on the eyes. All right, but yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I like them. I might turn the cry up a little bit. Let's make him a little brighter. All right, so that's it. That's your lesson. Hopefully you have some fun with this character and you continue to make some new characters. Keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.
What's up guys, Drug for Dave here, and welcome to another Skillshare exclusive class. This one is called the Kawaii Workshop. We're going to be working in 3D and Nomad Sculpt. I'll be using the iPad Pro 2021, but Nomad Sculpt is available on iPads and iPad Pros and Samsung tablets. So I really love making characters and doing character designs, putting them together, sculpting them, modeling them. Very cute, simple. So not only is this class all about cute characters, but it's all about making our scene and making our models with efficiency in mind. But we're going to take extra steps to make sure our poly count stays low where it should be. So we're also going to focus on composition. We're going to add a background in, and we're going to make our scene fit seamlessly with that background. And we're going to add our little characters in so it looks like that is the background scene. We're going to make it really blurry. A lot of artistic stylization coming into this class because that's how I work and that's what I love to do. This class comes with a ton of free extras. I'm going to include a whole room so you can use your characters once you finish them to populate the room. I made all of these assets, really cool assets, and I'm going to include those all with this class because it's just fun to use your characters and put them in a physical space and move them around in a physical space. Alright, so that's my pitch. That's it for this intro. I really had a great time making this class and I'm looking forward to joining you in class so we can make some really cute little kawaii characters. Alright, so let's move on to the next video, class project.